So we're here today at the New York International Auto Show at the Autel Energy booth. Now, my followers will recognize the name Autel. They make electric vehicle chargers. I actually reviewed one a few months back. It got a really good score. I think it was 4.4 stars out of 5. And it's one of my recommended chargers to purchase. So I'm here today with John Thomas, the COO of Autel Energy. Now, Autel may be a little new to the EV charging game. They've only been selling the chargers in North America for about a year now. I think last April is when it came out, when it first launched. But they're scaling up quickly. They've got a lot of products, and they're not new to manufacturing. Autel's been making, I think, automotive diagnostic tools for many years,
yeah,
and
for two decades.
For 2 decades. So they're not new to making electrical components for automobiles. So first, I'm going to ask John a little bit about the company and what they're doing in the EV charging space. Then we're going to take a walk around the booth and take a look at the equipment that they have here. So John, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about Autel and what you're going to be doing in the EV charging space.
Okay, well, thanks, Tom. You talked a little bit about Autel in our background, right? Automotive diagnostic equipment. That's really kind of interesting because most of the EV charging people are not automotive guys, right? They're software guys, cloud connectivity people, but really that automotive technology component for us allows us to communicate and talk to vehicles like we do naturally. So we're used to doing a BMW one day, a Toyota the next day, a Honda the day after. And that's really important in this space because chargers have to work with every vehicle. So we do that really well.
That's good. And speaking of that topic, when I first started reviewing the home charging equipment, that was a huge problem in the industry. I would get a charger from like a Siemens and I'd plug in the BMW i3 and it would work, but then a friend would come over to Chevy Volt and it wouldn't work. But it seems like for the most part, the industry's gotten this straightened out now because very rarely do I hear that a new charger that comes on the market doesn't work with a specific vehicle. It still happens because I still do hear it. Mostly the smaller companies that are just kind of upstarts that I've never heard of before. Maybe they haven't fully, done all their testing. But I haven't heard of any issues with the Autel unit yet.
No, and we got a lot of deployments going on. I think since we actually started selling online in September of last year, so it's been about 7 months. We have about 30,000 sales online for the home charger. Installing our DC chargers, we probably have about 300 in the ground now, and it's growing every week.
And that's 300 in North America? 300 in
North America.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
We have more in Europe. We actually started there first.
I knew that, so I really didn't know you had that big of a footprint in North America. We're going to walk around and take a look at them in a minute, but first, let's take a walk around and look at the AC charging equipment that you offer.
Okay, perfect. That'd be great.
This video is powered by Qmerit, North America's leading provider of installation services for electric vehicle charging, home energy storage, and other electrification technologies. See how Qmerit is making the energy transition easy for home and business owners by following the link in the description of this video.
Okay, so John, let's first take a look at the MaxiCharger that you have your hand on there, and that's the same unit that I recently reviewed in the State of Charge Garage. Tell us a little bit about it.
That's right. This is our AC home charger, right? And this one in particular comes with a port that you can mount somewhere else, right? But we also have one that mounts directly in the front, depending on where you want to put this, the connector to the car. I think some of the cool things about this unit, it comes in a 9.6 kilowatt and a 12 kilowatt version, so you can have a little bit higher power, a 40 amp and a 50 amp version. And I think one of the things that you talked about was this coupler, right? So at the end of the day, this is a very robust, it feels good in your hand, it's something that's strong and robust. You talked a little bit about the cable. We've already made some adjustments to the cable on our newer units based on your recommendation. So that's one of the cool things about Autel is we work pretty quick. So a lot of companies, I worked for a German family-owned company most of my career, that would have taken years to happen, right? And we did it in months after you did your review. So it's really a great product. It's selling very well. Aesthetically, people like the way it looks. The other thing is some people confuse this as a screen, right? We put this on here because the glass looked nice aesthetically, right? So, but what we're working on right now is we're going to launch a version of this as well. If somebody wants a screen on this, they'll be able to get a home version with a screen. So
that's good to hear. And I'm really happy to hear that you have made some improvements to the unit based on my review. It's always great when manufacturers, take that constructive criticism, let's say, and act on it. So I'll have to get another one of these and check out the new cable and see if it's improved or not. Excellent.
Fantastic.
So let's take a look at, you have a future product that's a bi-directional charger.
Yeah, we
and
can talk about
I'd
that.
like to take a look at that next. Let's walk over there.
Okay.
Okay, John, so let's take a look at this cool bi-directional charger. All companies seem to be developing one of these guys. It's obviously going to be the future of the industry. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
Yeah, so this is our bi-directional charger. This puts out 12 kilowatts, both directions, so to the battery of the vehicle or back to the home. But this is really nice because the inverter is actually incorporated into this. Some of the other solutions today, like the F-150 Lightning, you need a separate inverter. So we wanted to create an all-in-one device where everything, the energy management system's in there, the inverter's in there, and the ability to transfer energy back and forth between the home.
Very good. Do you have like maybe a rough price estimate without holding you to it, or is that something you're not going to release? Because people are curious about how much are these bi-directional chargers going to cost? Maybe
Yeah.
a price range?
So right now we're talking around $6,000 roughly. So less than a home generator, if you want to compare it to a home gas or diesel, natural gas generator. I think the other cool thing is we're actually going to launch this year. So this is a prototype today at the show, but the actual version will be launched. Now, one of the complexities about bi-directional is you got to have vehicles that can actually do that, right? And as you know, Tom, there's not that many vehicles today that actually can do that.
Exactly. And I know Rivian has the, I believe they have the OCPP compliant software in the vehicle. They just haven't enabled it yet. Ford's is kind of a closed system. I don't think this will work with my Lightning, but it should be able to work with a Rivian and possibly even a Lucid. But hey, you have to build the products, and then maybe the manufacturers will open up their vehicles so that their customers can use them. And there's one other thing I want to point out. You might have noticed there's no cable or connector on here. That's because this is day one of the press days at the New York International Auto Show, and I came in super early in the morning, and their booth isn't even completely set up. So that's why there's no connector. Is this going to have, I assume, a CCS type connector?
It'll have a CCS connector. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
As well.
All right, let's move on to another product that's really interesting.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so there's a real interesting unit here. This is what caught my eye actually when I first walked over here. This is a dual head 80 amp AC charger. Tell us a little bit about this and what's the use case for it?
So today the use case for this is either a public parking lot. A lot of the car dealers, as they're installing chargers at their dealerships, they're focusing on this. And Tom talked about this a little bit, this is really future-proof for them, because a lot of the new vehicles that are coming to market will have bigger onboard chargers on them, which will handle 19.2 kilowatts, right? The other place we're seeing a nice use case for this is the school buses. So the school bus industry, they can actually take 19.2. That's like the sweet spot for their vehicles today. So you had mentioned something about putting this in somebody's home. Sure, of course, this can be done. You obviously have to have enough available power to do that, right? So if you want 19.2 out of both of these, you have to put in 200 amp breakers to support that.
Yeah, absolutely. But to be honest with you, I think a single 80 amp feed where it could deliver the 19.2 to one vehicle, but then your significant other comes home in their EV and plugs in, and then it intelligently balances the power and shares it. I think a lot of people would go for that. That would be worth paying for the service upgrade if you could have one unit with two connectors and share that 80 amp load. I think a home version of this is in order. So get to work on that, will you?
Yeah, we're always innovating, so we're always trying to do new and innovative things. And I think that the other neat thing about that is what you said is, right, this thing will automatically load balance. So if you plug in two cars, it's going to split the power. But if you have two breakers, 100 amp, this is true 19.2 out of both ports, which is really interesting out in the public sector.
Yeah, that's great. So, but let's say it has one 80 amp feed, not two.
Yep.
And one vehicle's drawing, it's starting to ramp down, so it's only drawing 15 kilowatts. What does the other one get? Does it step down, or will it give it you know, just the balance of what the other one, because I've noticed some of these that share power have major steps in what they'll give between
Sure.
two vehicles.
Yeah, so this one will balance. So
Okay.
it looks at the power, outgoing power, incoming power, and it says, okay, I have so much available, I have so much to give, and I balance
It'll give
that.
it the full amount. Okay,
Yes.
excellent. All right, so now let's go take a look at your DC products. That wraps it up for Autel's AC products.
Perfect.
Okay, John, so you tell me this is a 240 kilowatt DC fast charger. Talk about it a little bit.
So this is a 240 kilowatt DC charger, as you said. It's a standalone unit, so it's all self-contained within. Everything on our screen is touch screen, so you can see what port you want to use. It's offline right now, but it'll also tell you how much money, it'll tell you where you're at, all that stuff. It'll tell you state of charge, what's going on. So
Has that screen been tested so it doesn't gray out when sunlight kills it? Because I've seen some DC fast charge screens become unusable in less than a year.
yeah, so we've gone through all the UV testing. The screen is IK10 rated, which means you can drop a bowling ball on this thing from a foot above it. It won't
Can I
crack.
test that in the garage?
Go ahead, have at it, have at it. So we don't want to do a Tesla thing here. So, but basically, you can monetize this thing. Obviously, you got a card reader here. You can use RFID. It's connected through cellular connection, all that stuff.
Cool.
The nice thing about this thing is, if you want to start out, you can start out at 60 kilowatts and build it up over time. We'll show you that in a second.
Yeah, and this is a standalone unit. You don't need an additional cabinet. Everything's built
here.
in. Can we take a look inside?
Yeah, let's take a look inside. All right, so take out the charge ports, and let's open her up. So this is the nice thing about the inside of this cabinet. So you can see everything's up front and center. We built this around the experience for the serviceability, right? So you never want this thing to be down for very long if something happens. Autel is a diagnostics company, so we do automotive diagnostics. So you can actually diagnose 70% of the potential failures in this unit remotely through our cloud, through our back end. It'll give you a notification. If something's wrong and there's a board or an issue, you can send out the technician with that component in hand, so you don't have to do multiple trips, which costs money, creates a longer downtime, creates other issues.
Awesome.
So talk a little bit, we'll go around to the side on the other side, and we'll talk a little bit about the power units. So
I guess you're pulling those pins to open up the side of the cabinet.
yeah, that should open up the side, should pop. Yep. So let's close this door.
over
It's
here.
got a little foot kick so that the door doesn't slam shut on anybody. And on this side here, you can see there's only one power module in it right now, but you can put up to 12 in here. Nice thing about these are 20 kilowatts a piece. They're just like a hard drive in a computer. A couple screws, they come in and out. And if one of these goes down, your whole unit doesn't go down. Some chargers, when one of these goes down, the charger's done. Our charger will only drop by 20 kilowatts. Somebody can come out and fix it, slide a new one in, and you're back up and running.
If any of those have failed, does the customer get any kind of notification on the screen that says you're reduced power because of, for some reason? Because that's always good to let the customer know if they're getting less power. Some of the other networks that are out there, when the chargers have derated for whatever reason, you don't know. And I think they should give it a little bit of a notification that says, you know, this charger is not delivering its full power, you know, we'll restore it to full power soon. Any thought into that?
So you don't get that notification. You'll get it once you plug in. You'll know that something, you know, you're getting less than the available amount, but there's nothing that'll say, hey, this charger, when you pull up, there's some warning, there's something that's getting less power because there's an issue. That's
probably some unsolicited advice as an EV owner. I'd love to see that incorporated, because a lot of people, they don't understand fast charging and they're expecting one thing, and the sophisticated EV, say aficionados, know, okay, the charger's not delivering main power. But other people that don't really understand charging, if the charger's not supplying the full power, they think there's something wrong with their car. Just some feedback.
Yep. I'm an EV driver too. I've been an EV driver for 5 years, so I've lived your dream too as well.
Absolutely. Eventually, hopefully the cars will have this all built in and they'll tell you what's going on. Rivian actually does a good job with it right now. They give you some alerts when you're DC fast charging if they've lowered the power because the battery's overheating, or if the power's limited by the charging station, but very few EVs do that. So just a little bit of feedback.
No, I appreciate that.
All right, let's go take a look at your next unit.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have a little compact DC fast charger. Is this one of those 25 kilowatt units that we see proliferate around the industry?
No, this is actually a DC 40 kilowatt unit.
Okay.
Very cool, because when you pull one port and you plug it into a vehicle, you're going to get a true 40 kilowatts out of that port into that vehicle, which is very uncommon in this space, right? You plug in a second vehicle, it's going to power share. You get 20 and 20, but one at a time, you're getting a lot of power out of a little package.
Yeah, that's pretty compact for a 40 kilowatt unit. I mean, there's the legacy 50 kilowatt DC fast chargers out there that are bigger than your big DC fast charger that we just looked at. So that's pretty good. And you know, I've often commented that there's plenty of room for lower power DC fast chargers. Everybody seems so focused on, we need more, 360 kilowatt DC fast chargers and over 360 kilowatts. Yes, we need those along major corridors, but these lower powered units are excellent for shopping centers and places where people dwell for a longer period of time. So, I think there's definitely a market for smaller, low-powered units like this.
Well, and we're seeing a lot of this kind of use case in the CV market, in the commercial vehicle market, right? And the people that run trash trucks or school buses or day cabs or those kind of applications where they're coming back to the same place every night. They want to charge a little bit faster, but not super fast, right? They don't need the big power, as you said.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, let's take a look at, I think you got one more, right?
Yeah, I got one more.
fast
I actually got one that we're going to show you that we're going to launch in a different form factor.
Okay, yeah, I see it over in the corner. Is that what's being hidden right now? Let's take a walk over there.
Yeah, come on, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look.
So, from what I understand, I'm not supposed to be seeing this just yet because this is going to be revealed to the public later today.
Yep. So we're gonna show you this one.
Okay, for the first time.
First time.
Looks very similar to the one we just looked at. What's different about it?
It's basically the same thing, but this one is actually mobile. So you can roll this around. It's not a battery storage system. It's actually plugged into the wall, right? It's got an industrial cable, an industrial plug, but people are pretty excited about this. So if I own an auto dealership or a collision repair shop, I never know what state of charge that vehicle is going to come into my facility at. So this is a great opportunity. I could roll this over to a vehicle that's stuck, doesn't have battery, or share it amongst multiple vehicles. So one of the use cases that I heard of was in big places like New York City and Chicago. Some of the parking garages, they don't have designated parking spots. So they just bang the cars in as they get them. This way, the valet could roll it around to every car and charge the cars no matter where they're at in the garage.
Absolutely. And now you said plug-in. It would be plugged in, or would this thing be hardwired?
It'd be plugged in. So industrial plug here. You put an industrial plug on the wall, and you plug it directly in. It's got like a 30-foot cable with it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I would imagine there might be different length cables, but it comes with a 30-foot cable. And
it comes with a 30-foot.
That's pretty. That gives you a decent amount of space to jockey the vehicles around and have them parked in different locations.
Well, in addition to that 30-foot cable, you got another cable over here length, so you can get even further away, right?
Yeah, those look like they're probably 12, 15 feet long.
I think they're 15 or 16 feet. So
yeah, that's pretty long.
I can already get way over here.
Yeah, plus 30 feet.
Plus 30 feet. So,
yeah, so it's close to 50 feet total probably.
Right.
So that gives you a lot of space where you could have the vehicles parked and you can move that thing around and charge them. I can imagine, like, if a fleet of vehicles pulled in at night and you have an attendant there that moves that around during the course of the night, every hour or two moves it to another vehicle, and then they're all charged in the morning, and you're saving a ton of money on the infrastructure installing it in the garage. Okay, excellent. Yep. And when is this supposed to launch?
This actually launches this month. So
excellent.
Yeah.
And we're the first ones to see it? Is that what you're telling me?
You are the first ones to see it. We weren't going to reveal this until our thing today at 1 o'clock.
I won't post this video until after 1 o'clock today, I promise.
Perfect. Thank you.
Listen, thanks a lot. That's pretty much a wrap here. John, I want to appreciate your time you spent here. I love what you guys are doing here at Autel. It's, in my space, you're a relatively new company with EV charging, but I tell you, in the last year that I found out, I think it was at the Detroit Auto Show.
Detroit Auto Show is where we launched in the US.
Yeah. In that last year, I'm amazed at, how fast this company has grown, how many different products you have. It seems like I see Autel, advertising everywhere. So, you guys are going all in on EV charging, and I look forward to testing out some of your future products. Maybe that bi-directional charger that we talked about earlier, we could bring that over to the State of Charge garage and I could test it out.
We'd love that. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for spending the time with us.
All right, I want to thank John again for coming on. That was super informative. Autel's a company to keep an eye on. We're going to be seeing a lot from this company in the coming years with regards to electric vehicle charging. As I mentioned, they're relatively new, but it seems like they're everywhere now, and they're putting a lot of money behind their EV charging division. Autel's a brand you're going to be hearing about a lot in the coming years. So there's one last thing I want to check out before we leave. You see this wrapped Tesla Model S behind me? That's actually John's personal car, and it's got a really cool wrap on it. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to flip the camera around first to do a walk around. So here it is. It is a Tesla Model S. It's got the Autel license plate, a lot of branding, but it also has circuit board motif on it. You see, that reminds me of my 2011 BMW Active E, that pilot program that I was in. BMW, all the cars were white, and BMW had this blue circuit board motif. It almost looks like this wrap here copied it because it was super similar. And check out these wheels, really cool wheels. Now these are inserts over here on top of the wheels. The actual wheels are over here. See this? That's that same wheel, except they also sell an insert. I guess it's like an aero insert, so that you can get a little bit more aero. I'm going to get the name of the brand of these wheels and put them in the description of this video, probably with a link to the company, because I think they're super cool. This is a great looking Model S in my opinion. I mean, John really has this thing tricked out well. What a cool car. And this is what he drives around on. So he walks the walk. He's not just talking EVs and EV charging. He's actually living it. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please don't forget, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.